All right, good evening to you all. You are welcome to this class, and I'm glad to see all of you. It's good to see all of you. We've had a chit chat before this class commenced, so it's now time to get really serious. Okay, good. I'm going to wipe out this one, which is the last class that we have. Wipe this as two. Okay, so we are going to start today's class by taking the topic on typecasting. Typecasting simply means a way of typecasting simply means to change your data type from one type to another. Typecasting means changing your data type, okay, from one type to another. Remember that in the last class we discussed the four different data types that we have in Python. All right. Now, if you can remember these four different data types, please just type it in the chat and let me see if you can recall the four different data types that we have in Python. Well, number one, we have the the string data type, all right, otherwise simply called strings. And then we have the integer data type, and then we have the float data type. And then also we have the boolean data type. So if you remember very well, I think I told you a few things about them. We have number one, the string data type in Python. This is just about there are non-numeric constants. Non-numeric constants, okay? They could also be characters. They could as well be a blend of characters and numbers. They could be a blend of characters and numbers. And they could also be words, etc. So all of these are examples of string data types. All right. So I gave you examples the other time too. Anything that is not a number, okay, if it is not a number and it is not something like true or false, because Boolean is just true or false. I told you that we are going to get there very soon. I'm going to teach you when we will need anything that has to do with Boolean data types or whatever. Okay, but Boolean is true or false. Yeah, I told you about the string data type. That it's non-numeric constant. But anything you are typing, like a text, okay, words, characters, or a blend of a number and characters, all of those things, we call them strings, okay? Then the second one is the integer data type. The integer data type, mostly it's about numbers, but this time around, whole number, okay? The integer data type is whole number, okay? And then let me put it here, whole numbers. And then the float data type is numbers with fractional parts. Numbers with fractional parts or decimal, okay? Those are what we call floats. And then the last one, Boolean. Boolean is either true or false. We are going to get there. We don't need them now. All right, but when we get there, you will understand how they work. So these are the four data types that we have in Python. We have strings, we have integer, we have floats, we have boolean, and and um, and those are the stuffs that we are going to be dealing with tonight. Okay. Now, um, sometimes when you are writing a code, sometimes you'll be required to change. You might come across some challenges that might actually need you to change from one data type to another. From one data type to another. Okay. So if there is need to do that, then there are some procedures to follow to achieve that aim. And that is what we are discussing now. Okay. Now, I was designing a what we call it, a banking app, like a console-based banking app for someone at a time, and then I got to a point where I got so challenged, and I just needed to perform one magic, and then this thing came to play. So it was then that I understood the fact that every single topic that you learn, every single topic, regardless of how small it is, like every tiny information you gather, you need them at one point or the other, no matter how foolish it looks like. You understand? You need those things because there is some challenge. You just come and you just need to you will now use one or two of those tiny things that I've taught you in the past. You use it to overcome it. You understand? So please, every single topic we learn are important. Take note of them. Do the assignments. Make sure that you leave no stone unturned. That's the reason why I always ask you, if you don't understand something, make sure you let me know. Don't let it pass you by. I know why I keep repeating it, because you are going to need every bit of this information by the time you start coding professionally. So if there is any part that you didn't get well, that part might start giving you issues. And anybody that carries my certificates, you carry our certificate like Emostel Skills and Development Limited certificate, you must be a top notch anywhere you are found. As in, the certificate is important to me, that if you don't pass my exam, there is no way you can collect it. No way. So if you don't pass, no way. You can repeat the exam as many times as possible, but if you don't pass it, you are not going anywhere. You are not collecting my certificate. Because when you go out there, you must represent us. You must represent us. Like they will say, yes, any student of Emostel, no, forget it. We are not even testing you. We know that you are number one. These are the kind of people I want to raise, and we are going to get there. You understand? So let's continue. So string data type are non-numeric constants or characters, or a blend of characters or words and all that. Integer data types are whole numbers, simply whole numbers. It can be negative, positive, but whole numbers. Floats, it can be negative, positive, but fractional numbers, that is, numbers that carry decimal. Then Boolean, they return true or false values. Okay, these are the 4 data types we are dealing with. But in today's class, I am going to talk about the first 3. Today's class is going to be centered around the first 3. How you can change data type from one type to another type. Okay, so that something that is behaving like a string before can start to act like an integer. Or an integer can start to act like a float. Or a float begin to act like an integer, and all of those things like that. How do we do it? It's very, very simple. You understand? So if you want to change, for instance, integer to floats. Let's say you want to change integer to floats. What you just do is you put the float value, like the integer value. Let's say just write floats, you put it in brackets, then that value, maybe 3. When you say float 3, okay, you have, so you know 3 is an integer, is a whole number. Okay, so if you do float 3, you are trying to tell Python that, please, I know that this thing is an integer, but I want it to come out as a float. And for you to be sure that Python has done that for you, what you just do is that you do the print statements, you do 3. I'm sorry, you say print, you can say print float 3. Print float 3, and then you run the program. So what did it come out with? It came out as a float, which is 3.0. You understand? But ideally, it was not carrying any decimal. It was just a normal integer. But now it is carrying decimal because you have converted it to float. You have told Python that I want this thing to come out as a float, and it comes out as such. You understand? So that is how it goes. Now, if you can also do it this way. You can also do it this way. If the thing is inside inside a variable, let me say I created age, and I say age is equal to 3. All right, and then I can float it. I can say float age. Float age. Okay, or I say print float age. Print float age. By the time you run it, okay, it's going to give you 3.0 still. So you see that the first one I did was direct number. The second one I did it through a variable, and yet it still worked. Do you understand? So putting float outside here tells Python that you want to convert a whole number to a decimal, to a number that has decimal. That is all. It's just as simple and straightforward as that, nothing more. So to change an integer to float, put float outside, put the integer inside, and then the float will work on the integer so that it will come out as a float. Simple. Now, what if you want to change let's say to change integer, to change float to integer, so what you do here is that the same process. Just put in, since integer is the place you are going, is what you want to achieve, so you put the integer outside, then open a bracket, and then you can put the float number there, maybe 3.5. You say int 3.5. The beautiful thing about this one is that it will remove it, it will change it to integer, and it also do something that the double division could not do. So when you say int 3.5, by the time you print it, let me say, just say print of int 3.5. By the time you run it, printing 3.5 will become 3. Do you understand it now? So what it just does is that it will take away everything that you have here. It will just the same results that you will get, assuming you did double division. Okay. So it will do double division, and then you get it like that. So 3.0, 3.0, and then you have this one, and you can also do the same thing with a variable. Okay, so if you have it like this, I said in 3.5, or maybe I be faster. I think I need to be faster, so that I can catch up. We can cover all the whole. I'll be faster, Shay. I mean, let me faster. But if I'm getting too fast for you, like you are not catching up, don't manage. Just call my attention and slow me down, or let me know the parts that you didn't get well. Please, I want to be very fast. Okay. Now we move. So we have print int 3.5. So by the time you do okay, let me do the other one. Assuming you have let me say heights. The height of the person is 20.7 or whatever. This is a float, okay, because it's decimal, okay, it has decimal parts. Then if you want to do is just say print, print height, and it's going to give you the results. By the time you run it, it is going to give you 20. Okay, sorry, print int height. I didn't put that one. Okay, print int height. And by the time you run the program, it's going to give you 20. So it doesn't approximate, mind you, it does not approximate. It's the only thing to do is to remove these decimal parts, to take it out, and then keep only the number before the decimal, and that's what it does. Okay, so we have been able to change a float to an integer using this function. Okay, no problem. And then the third one, we want to see if we can change a string. We want to see if we can change a string to an integer. Or let me start. To change an integer to a string. To change an integer to a string. Alright? So what do? You come here, you can say, since string is our destination, so you just say str. Don't spell the whole string. You don't spell the whole string. In this time around, when you want to just do typecasting with string, you just put str alone. That's all. So str, then you put the stuff that you want to convert inside. So let's say string 3, and then that is all. From now on, that 3 that you put there has been converted to string. So when you convert it to string, if you want to if you want to be sure whether it has converted to string or not, let's say you know that 3 is a number, and then because it's a number, you are supposed to add, to be able to add it. You know, when you say 3 plus 5 is supposed to give you 8. But because you have converted it to string, Python is no longer seeing it as a number anymore. It's now seeing it as a string. So therefore, you cannot convert it. Okay? So let me just put this one as 2. 2 plus 5 is supposed to be 7. So by the time you run this code, let me say print. By the time you attempt to display it, print string 2, and then you put this one here. If you run it, it will bring out an error. So you see this error. You say you can only concatenate string. You cannot concatenate integer to string. You can see that now. So that's the error. It tells you can only concatenate 2 strings. You cannot concatenate 1 string and 1 integer together. It will not work. So that shows you that by putting str here, this 2 that we are seeing here is no longer a whole number. It is now an integer. And it's now a string, sorry. So if you want to put it to play, what you just do here, you put something like face. You put something like face. Okay, please, whenever you are typing a string, whenever you are typing a word in Python, in as much as it's not a variable, please, you must put it inside quotes. If you don't put it inside quotes, you are going to confuse Python. Python will believe that it's a variable, and then it will be looking out for the value that you store inside that variable. And if it doesn't see the value that you store there, it will bring out an alert. You understand that the variable is not assigned any value. So it will be thinking it's a variable. So in order to make, you can see that every variable that we've declared here comes out in white color. This height came out in white color, right? So which shows that it's a variable. It is storing some value. And this is the value is stored in this case. Okay? So if I don't put this thing inside quotes, if I remove the code like this, you see that it turns white immediately, which shows that Python is beginning to think that it's a variable. So that's what you do. So put it inside quotes because it's a string. Now we have 2 strings, then they can easily concatenate. So by the time you run this program, it's going to give you 2 face. Do you get it? So if I want to write 2 face Dibia, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put space in between this one. I'll put space here like this, so that there will be a space between face and the next word I want to write. Otherwise, they are going to join together. So if I now put plus, either you put a space or you don't put a space, doesn't matter, it will still work. So by the time I now put Idibia, you understand? So if you run this program, if you run this code, it's going to give you two-phase idibia. But if I don't, even for you to know, even if I remove, even if I don't put space and I don't put space, if I run it, it's still going to give me the same answer. The two-phase idibia, it will still run. The space I put here is just for readability. You understand it now? So it's just for readability. By the time, the space that I kept here is just because space is also a string. Okay, it's just to engage so that there will be a space between this word and this word. So which means that from here to here, like this, from this place to this place, is what this one covers. So if I don't put this space, idibia is going to just kiss it. So if I run this program like this, they will be kissing each other. That's two-phase idibia. So I'm teaching you this trick because you are going to need it very soon. Okay? So when you want to form some sentence in Python so that you'll be able to know how to construct them. So you put a space in between this one like this so that there will be a space between it and the next word. Okay? Or if you don't put it here, you can also put it here. It's still okay. When you run the program, it will still work. Okay, so anyhow you want to do it, it's fine. It's one of those tricks that we use in Python. You understand? So that's that as per that. So we've just been able to change an integer to a string successfully. Okay, you can also do the same thing to float too. So let's say print. Okay, I put string because anything you want to achieve is what you put outside. You open the brackets and put the thing you want to work on inside. So maybe there is a floating number like 3.5 or something. Okay, so 3.5 here, fine. Python begins to see it as a string henceforth. So I can say 3.5 inches. If I want to represent inches, inches is represented with double quotes. So you can say 3.5 plus, you put into brackets. Now, very good. I want to represent inches in Python, and I'm going to use double quotes. So here you can now put single quotes, and you put single quotes, and you put double in between. Okay? So that, I hope I'm not confusing you here. If you run this program, it's going to give you, so I've tried to concatenate 3.5 and inches. So I got 3.5 inches. Do you get it now? So I use a single quote here so that it will not confuse you, even you that you are coding. Okay? Single quote, because I have told you before that whenever you are trying to represent a string, you can use either single quote or double quote. It will work. For instance, this two-phase now, if I like, I put single quotes around it. If I like, I make it single quotes, it will still work. It doesn't disturb anything. If you run the program, let me cut out this one. If you run the program, you are still going to have two-phase idibia working very fine, perfectly. No issues. You understand? So you are still going to have it like that. No issues. So it's either you use single quote or double quotes. Python still sees it as a string. But now, if you want to do something like even the quote itself is part of what you want to do. You want to do something, and even the quote itself is part of what you want to do. Then you are going to switch between the quotes. Okay, whether you to use single quote or double quote. So this time around, I want to represent inches. And inches is represented with double quotes, a single double quote. So this time around, I'm going to put a single quote around it. So this single quote is to tell Python that I'm trying to represent a character. And then I now put the double quote character inside. So by the time I run it, the two of them will concatenate, which means they will join together. And then by the time I run it, it will give me 35 inches. That's 35 inches. So I believe I'm clear with that. So then I've been able to convert a string, a float to a string using this method, and it worked very fine. So what we have just done is what we call typecasting. All right. Now But how? But is it possible to convert a string to an integer? Yes, it is possible, but only a numeric string. Only a numeric string. Okay? Please take note that only numeric strings can be converted to either only numeric string can be converted to either integer or floats. Only numeric string can be converted to either integer or floats. Okay, so then we move. If we want to do that, this is what to do here. Let me give you that example. If it is not a numeric string, okay, let me give you an example. If I say int, I want to convert daily to integer. Is it possible? Daily is not even a number in the first place. It's a string, fine, but it's a non-numeric string. And you want to try to, if you run it will tell you error, invalid literal, big error immediately, line 23. You see, say there's error in line 23, and this is line 23. So you cannot convert a non-numeric string. You can only convert a numeric string, okay, to an integer or to a float. So if peradventure I said, okay, 2 is a string, but I want to convert it to an integer, all right, no problem. It will work. You know, this str2, if I copy this str2, for instance, because it's a string now, but a numeric string, a number kind of string. So if I put it here, okay, and say int str2, no problem, it will work. So let me print it. Print int str2, run it. It's going to give me 2. Let me see if I can add it to something. Let me say I'm adding it to 5. So I'm expecting 7 as my answer. So let me run it. Okay, good. So now it's telling us that you can only concatenate string, not integer to string. So, okay, I did not put it in brackets. I did not close the brackets. Because I expected that, okay, this is str2, no problem. But by the virtue of this integer that is outside, it's supposed to convert to int. So it's supposed to now be in integer 2. So integer 2 is supposed to be able to add to 5. The reason why it did not work earlier was because I didn't close the brackets. So now, closing the brackets, let's see what happens. Wow, it still didn't work. Let me see. Okay. All right, so let's run it now. Yeah, bingo, it worked. So I put excess bracket because I think I put a double bracket at the back of this one, which is not supposed to be. The bracket I was supposed to put here, because I was talking, I think I unconsciously put it here earlier. So that was why it didn't run. So it's fine now. So the logic here is that str2, which is string 2, changed to integer by the virtue of casting it into integer, the integer that is outside. So whatever is outside is what the thing that is inside will come out as. So anything that is outside is the thing that what is inside will come out as. Okay, so that is how it works. If you run it, it works fine. Okay. Any question concerning that before I proceed? I want just 1 or 2 people to confirm that it's clear. Confirm to me it is clear before I continue. So which means it is not clear. Okay, good. So, all right, so when we tried to do the non-numeric, it didn't work. But when we did the numeric, it worked. Okay, so we can also do the same thing. Let me say I have floats. I have floats. Float string 2.5, which means, but let me see, let's do float string 2. We want to display the result of float string 2, so let's see what comes out of it. think I need one more bracket. Okay, we are waiting. I don't know why this thing is taking time like this. Yeah, so it's worked. So we have been able to successfully convert a string to a float. Okay, so but you can only convert a string of the numeric type. Now I want to give you an experiment. I want us to perform an experiment. See, print. So we have print and float string. String 2. What do you say? What do you say? Oh, okay, please, you can unmute your mic. Okay, you can unmute your mic, please. All right. So, as you can see, we have this one too. We work the same way. There is no need to waste time. But the thing is just that I just wanted to get it clear that it's only the numeric type of string that can be converted to either an integer or a float. And it also works too when you have it in a variable. You understand? So if I say age is equal to, okay, maybe I say you know, if I say x is equal to string 2, if I say x is equal to string 2, all right, you know, I can easily say, and then I say maybe y is equal to string face, and I say z is equal to 3. Okay, I can easily say print, you know, I cannot say print x plus z. I cannot say print x plus z because it will not work. I can't say print x plus z because it won't work. Why will it not work? Because x, even though it is a number, but it is a string, I have put a quote around it to tell Python that it's a string. So even though we know, you and I know that it's a number, but because I put a quote around it, Python begins to see it as a string. So if I try to add the number, which is 2 plus x plus z is supposed to be 2 plus 3. By the time I run it, I'm supposed to get 5, but it's going to give me an error. It's going to return an error. You understand? Because of that issue, because of the fact that it is a string. 2 is seen as a string because you put a quote around it. You see that the number also turned to green to show that it's a string. Okay? So, but numbers are supposed to appear as orange, but for it to have appeared as green, it shows that Python is now seeing it as a string because of the quote that you put around it. So in this case now, but if you say x plus y, definitely going to work. Definitely going to work. It's going to give us two face straight up. You understand? Because both of them are strings. So you concatenate them to become two face. Concatenation of string means joining two strings together. All right. So, but if I now want x and y to work, what I will do is to say, if I want x and z to work, I will say print. Then I will now cast the x. I will cast it into an integer. I will say print int, and then I put x there. Then only under that condition, can it add up to y, to z rather. And then by the time you run it, you're going to get 5 as your answer. Okay, because it has changed from integer, from a string to an integer by casting. We call it type casting. Okay, so you have successfully casted y 2, which was a string, to 2 as an integer, and it works very fine. So that's how it goes. Okay, so that is the end of that topic called typecasting. Any question before I continue? Any question before I continue? No question, okay. So now we go to the next thing. I'm going to send this link to the WhatsApp group in case you want to use it for revision. Do you understand? So, but I'm just going to share it so you can experiment, you can play around with some things just to see how it works. Okay, before you now start doing your own assignments in your own code. All right, so the next thing we go on to topic 2. Getting user inputs. How do you get user inputs? To get a user input, you use the input statements. You use the input function. Okay? To get an input from a user, you use the input function. So let's have an example. Then please take note of something that by default, any value or data entered by the user, any data that is entered by the user comes out as a string. If you want to get the value, if you want to get the value, or data in another data type, then you cast it. So that is to say, by default, the way Python is designed, any time you get an input from a user, okay, the input comes out in form of string. So if you want it to be in another form, you cast it into the form you want. Let's have examples. Okay, I think let me put one more point. It is good. Okay, let me put it this way. We usually assign a variable to the input function we usually assign a variable to the input function to store the value. All right, I'm going to put it, all of these things now, I'm going to just explain it. Okay, so we have something like this. If you have something like input, maybe like say name is equal to input the instruction. What is happening to my finger tonight now? The instruction that the user must follow in order to know the kind of data required to be input is written as a parameter in the brackets. Okay, so I'm going to just put the instruction that I want to give to the user. I'm going to put the instruction here. So you say name is equal to input, please insert your name. Name is equal to input, please insert your name. And then you can put a column here. In some Python program, the moment the user inserts a value, it's going to stick to the input. So you need to put space. But this one is not doing it like that. This particular platform we are using will make the user to put his own value under. So let me just run it anyway. If I say name is equal to please input your name, and then I said print name. So let's see what happens. If you run it, by the time you run the program, you say please insert your name. You see this blinking stuff here, okay? This blinking cursor. If you are using PyCharm, for instance, which is the desktop version, if you install PyCharm, maybe you are coding with PyCharm, okay, this thing is going to stay right in front of this place, right in front of it. That's where it's going to stay. So in order for them not to be kissing each other as if you concatenated them, it is just a good coding idea to put one space, so that by the time the user puts whatever you want to put, there will be a space between the user input and this thing here that you wrote, this text that you wrote, or the instruction. But this one now is not doing like that. This one decided to put it here for us, under here. Okay, so let me run the program again. So you say please insert your name. So let me say I now put my name there, Emmanuel, and I press enter. It's going to print Emmanuel there. So let me see, let me just make it more, let me make it more interactive. I can say thank you, you have inserted. Okay, let me say thank you, your name is I put a space. No need for space since I'm going to use comma. Please remember what I taught you the other time. I said anytime you want to, you have a string and a variable in the same brackets, and you are using the print statement, you are using the print function, that you should always separate every block of string, separate them from every intervention of variable with a comma. You understand? Please never forget that. Always separate with a comma. And so we have it all like that. Okay, so let's make it interactive. We've made it interactive now, so let's run it. Let's run it. By the time you run it, it says please insert your name. So if you put Emmanuel and then you insert it, it says thank you, your name is Emmanuel. And so that's it. That's how it goes. And I believe that is also clear too. All right. So that is how to use the input function. Is there any question before I continue? Let us play with it again. Let's just you said what? The instruction did what? What happened to the instruction? Okay, your line is breaking. Can you use the text? Can you use text? Let me use the text box and let me just see what you're trying to say. I'm going to share the video and the code. Somebody said please share the class notes as promised. So I don't think I really would be able to do the notes for today. I have a lot of things on my table. But I'm going to share the code. So the notes is inside the code. So I'm waiting for you, Mary. Muftau, please unmute your mic. Please mute your mic, sorry. Yeah, do you have a question, Mufta? Okay, no problem. I still have it, I still have it, I will share it. It's okay. Right. Okay, so we proceed. Um, I'm actually expecting the question from. Okay, in order to know the kind of data to be required, I can't see all. Okay. In order to know the kind of data to be required, I can't see it all. Okay. I understand. Let me see it this way. I'm definitely going to share this anyway, so don't worry. I'm going to share this whole thing after the class, so you can get it in your notes. All right, let's move on. Okay, so this is how to use the input statement. The input function is actually used to receive values from the user. So once the value is received, the value will be saved inside a variable. This is the variable we use in this case. We use variable name. You can use anything you like. You can put anything you want. You can put X, you can put Y, anything. But in me, I just decided to use name. Okay? Okay, let me do another example. Let me say, okay. Let's have this example like this. Name is equal to, let's have this example. Name is equal to impute this, and sorry, someone is calling me. That call has just distracted me. Okay, so we have name is equal to impute. Please insert your name, and then you have something like this. Age is equal to, you have something like age is equal to impute please enter your age, and then you see, I told you that anything you put here comes out as string, right? If I want to do it for, just to prove to you that it enters as string, just to prove, if I say print, maybe age plus 5, normally anything that you put inside here, anything you put inside here is supposed to add to 5, since it's a number. All right, but let's see what's going to happen. If you run this program and it says, okay, insert your name, you put your name, Ima, and you run it, and then it says, please enter your age, and then you put maybe 4. You know you're supposed to get 9 in the next line. See what it's going to bring out? Error. You know why? It says you can only concatenate string to string, not integer to string. The reason is because of this thing I put here. As what is this? Okay, here on line 34, I said by default any value or data entered by the user comes out as a string. So the moment you say please enter your age, anything the user puts inside this place will come out as string. If you now want to make use of it in terms of another data type, you are going to cast it. So which means if I want to do it properly now, I will cast it because I need that age as a number. Then although it can work fine, it will come out as a number, but the number is a string number, just the way the 2 that we are seeing here is a string 2. That is how it is also going to be. It's going to be like a numeric string. Okay, so for instance, if I want to display it, if I say print age, maybe I say print, making it interactive, you are dash years old. Maybe you are age years old. Remember, I told you that when you type a string and the next thing that follows it is a variable, always put a comma before you indicate the variable. Immediately after the variable too, you put comma before you indicate another string. Otherwise, it will not work. So by putting the comma there, Python will do two jobs for you. Number one, it will identify this one as a variable. Number two is that it will help you to put space automatically. So whether I even join this one to this comma or I join everything together, it will still work. It will still work. It doesn't matter. The comma that is there automatically puts a space for you and also recognizes this one as a variable, that it is not part of this one. So what it does is that when it gets to this place, to go and fetch the value that is stored inside that variable, it will fetch it out and put it in the display. So by the time I run it now, I'm going to get please insert your name, Ima, and then next one, enter your age. I put 13, and then I run. It says you are 13 years old. You understand it now? So it will run very fine, even though you join the whole thing together. So far the comma is there, no problem. But if you didn't put the comma, and you put only space, if you run the program, it's going to give you an error. You see invalid syntax, to give you an error. Do you understand now? So that's that. So the comma is important when you want to separate the string from the variable. So using this one now, it will run very fine. Okay, so you can make it interactive by saying your name is, you put variable name, you put comma. And now if I need the comma, like I need the comma for real to appear, you understand? I will need the comma to appear like for real. What I could do is that your name is Ima, because it is a variable, if I want the comma to appear in the statement, I can do it. But what will happen is that I will convert it to, okay, anyway, I will concatenate it with a comma. That's how I will do it. I would have even made this one to be a test. I would have thrown it to the class that, okay, if I want comma to appear, for instance, okay, let me first run it. If you run it like this, and you have, you can say, you are 8 years old. So your name is name, you are 8 years old. That is, your name is whatever anybody puts here as name. Whatever the person puts here as name, we enter this place. And whatever the person puts here as age, will enter this place. Okay? So, because name is equal to whatever the user puts, and age is equal to whatever the user puts. So, both of them will enter here like this. Okay? And then if I run the program, if I run the code, it says, please insert your name. I said Ima. And it says, please enter your age. I put 13. And it says, your name is Ima, you are 13 years old. It works fine. And now, if I want a comma to be here, you can concatenate it, since it's a string anyway. So what you do is that you put name, okay, and then you now put plus. Then you put a quote and put comma there. So this should run fine. Name plus comma. So if you run it and you say Ima, and then you enter, you put 13, and then it put it there. Bingo! Alright, so you see that the comma is there now. Okay, see, it's all these things in our sense. It's just sense, just common sense. The thing is that you would be, I will teach you all the basic things. It is now up to you to know how to carry all those things, join them together to form common sense on anything you wish to achieve in this life. Anything you can achieve, anything is achievable. All you just need to do is that know how to use the basic tools to then you know how to manipulate them to achieve anything you want to achieve. So we cannot possibly teach you everything in this world, but all the things that we teach you, you can use it to achieve anything in this world. You get that? So I can't teach you everything in this world. I can't teach you how to do everything, but I can teach you what you will use to achieve everything. It is now up to you to use your initiative to join 1 plus 1 together to form the 2 that you want. So that's how it goes. So I think I believe you know how we got here. Any question? No, any question before I do the next thing I want to do. Any question? Okay. No question, then we move on. So if I have something like this, let me have another example here. Example 2. What if I have something like maybe I gave you an assignment. I said, okay, maybe I give you a task to like write a code that adds that sums up the name, the age of 3 people or 3 persons. You understand? Just anything like this. Write a code that sums up the age. So the value of age is manually added by you after the running of the program. No. When I run the program, as the program is being run, I put this thing. I have already put it here, like age. Since we say age is equal to please enter your age. So the user, then you say name is equal to please enter your name. If I run the program, the moment I run it like this, exactly what I type here like this is what will come out. Please insert your name. Okay, and then you put the name Ima. You run it again, you press enter. Then the next one is that the code will come to this line. What you put here, please enter your age. That's what it will present to you. You will now manually enter the age too and say, okay, any age you like. You now press enter. And then the guy will now put everything together according to the instruction you gave it in line 42. Okay, to put everything together. So this age, you say your name is, then this name as a variable, which is this thing that the person entered here, is what to be here, which is Ima, since that was what was entered. Then age would be 13. Okay, so since that is what was entered, and then it will just present it to you like that, nothing more. The manual entry came in by the virtue of using this input command. Anytime Python sees inputs, it knows that you are trying to get something from the user, and all it does is to get the thing from the user, and it will do whatever you want him to do with the thing that it got from the user. So is that clear now? Can I proceed? Or do you still have any other question? Can I proceed? Somebody asked the question and I answered him. So can I proceed? Augustina, you were not the one that asked the question. The person that asked the question, I want to know whether I should proceed from that person that asked the question. Okay, Mary, you are the one that asked the question. Okay, good. So I think Mary, you have answered. I've answered. Mary, I've not seen your response. Anyway, we can move on. Okay. So, all right. So if you have this example like saying write a code that sums up the age of 3 persons. Okay, which means in your code you are expecting to call. All right, which means in your code you are expecting to collect values like to collect name of three people, and then the name of the three people will be summed up to give you a result. So that's what you want to achieve. Excuse me, where's my phone? Okay, sorry, there's a power outage and okay, sorry, for finishing the gen, I need to see. All right, no problem. So now we're back in class. So write a code that sums up the age of three persons, okay? And then what you do is you can just, I don't know, you can just form up anything, freestyle. Just say, you can say name one. You can say name one. In when you are trying to make a variable, you are free to put number on your variable, very free, very very free. But you cannot put the number first. It is forbidden by Python to start a variable with a number. Very forbidden. You understand it now? You don't start with number, you start with a letter. But you can blend letter and number to form your variable, no problem. But you must start with letter. And as a practice, as a coding practice, it should start with capital letter, with small letter. So we have name one. Name one is equal to, let's say name one is equal to inputs please enter the name of the first person. Okay, enter the name of the first person, and then you can go again. You say name 2 is equal to inputs. You can say name 2 is equal to inputs. Please enter the name of the second person, and then you can say name 3 is equal to inputs. You say please enter the name of the third person. Okay, and then so you have already created a code that can receive the values from the user. But please don't forget that any value that comes in using these inputs, they come in directly as string. So don't forget that they come in directly as string. So in that case, you have to cast it from string to integer. You understand? You have to convert it from string to integer, and then that will be like this. You put str, and then you open it up, and then you close it. Then you can do it like this. Okay, sorry. I need it in integer, int. Then here too, you put it to integer, which means that anything coming out from the bracket should be converted to integer. That is what you are trying to tell Python. So instead of it coming out as string, it comes out as integer. All right. So now you are good. So the next thing you do, that you have written a code that collects the names. The next thing you do is to now tell Python what to do with the name. You understand? So you can say name. All right, I think I need to collect the age too, right? Okay, you say age 1. Let me put it this way. You can say age 1 is equal to, sorry, this name, since it's a name, I'm not casting name, I'm casting their age. I'm sorry, I think I've gone through a lot of stress today. You are casting their age, not their name, because name, you need name to come out as a string. So you have integer inputs, then you now say please enter the age of the first person. The next one, so since you are done with that, okay, I think I could do like this, like this, like this. Okay, so the next one, you have age 2. Age 2 is equal to inputs. Since you are dealing with age, so we convert it to string, to integer, sorry. Then we open the brackets, so we have inputs. Open the bracket again. Say, please enter the age of the second person, and you can have something like this, age 3. You have age 3 is equal to ints. You have it as inputs. Please enter the age of the third person. Okay, then you now tell Python what to do with it. Tell Python what to do with it. Okay, you can say print I want to say maybe Taye's age is this. Kilometers like this. Name 1 plus just watch what I'm doing. If I want it to enter a new line, if this one is okay, okay, I think this one works fine. You said enter the name of the first person. If you put the first person as Ima, the age of the first person, I did not put space here. Alright, so there we go. Ima, age 12, the name of the first person, house, like Ibrahim, or let me say Hebrew, the age 13, and I say Kasu, the age 14, and then okay, I did not put the number there, age 1. Okay, I'm going to run it again. See, all these things I'm teaching you here, everything I'm teaching you here, the way I'm doing is in your presence and all of those things, it is very important. It is part of what you are learning. You are learning from me now how to debug, how to remove error from code. If you are not so sure where the error came from. So what you do is that if you have done a lot of things, you reduce what you did and run it again. So that is the reason why it is very important before you do too many things, so that you don't waste time. The thing is very painful sometimes when you have written so many long things and you are not testing it, and you believe that you are doing what is right, so everything is fine. Type error can come from typing, error can come from anywhere, error can come from from a syntax that you seem to have gotten mixed up. For instance, now, because I don't use that new line syntax, I don't use that new line whatever really regularly. You understand? Good evening, sir. I'm lost to. I'm sorry. You watched the video. So then you have because of because of that, you might just make a lot of mistake, and it is very somehow discouraging that you have written a long code and you are running it and it's bringing an error. So it is a good programming practice that even though you want to perform, you want to pull stunts, test your stunts small. Now I think I really pulled a lot of stunts together in that one print statement, and error just kept hitting up on errors. So because of that, I have to just remove the excess and then start checking it one by one, that what did I do wrong. So and then I've reduced it. So the thing did not complain of anything now except the fact that I put age. I did not put number. I did not put number in that age. Yeah, the network is not helping matters. I saw your message. Yeah, that is the reason why we are recording anyway. So that by the time you finish the class, you can also play the record to get everything together. You understand? So it's Nigeria. Sorry about that. So we have print name1 equals to this and that. So let me run it. I'm running. So enter the name of the first person, Gary. Enter the age of the first person, 12. The name of the first person, Young, and that is 13. And name of the third person, King, and maybe you put 15. You see, it says Gary's age is 12. I want Python to do everything and then put them under each other. Gary's age is 12. Kende's age is, although I could use different print statements to achieve it, but I want to use this one to teach you how to use the new line, stuff. So you have like this, Gary's age is 12, which is very okay. Okay. And then I want it to do the same thing. I want to use everything. Okay, let me just put everything here. Don't worry, we'll do the new line thing later. Print. Can have this, copy it, paste it here, and say print name2. Name2's age is age 2. Since I'm sure that the code is working fine, so I can just copy and paste and repeat it all through. Print, then you enter name3, and this one 3. And then you can now say print the sum of their ages is then you put comma here, you say age 1 plus age 2 plus age 3. Okay, so I think we are okay with that. By the time you run the program, so enter the age of the first person. You have enter the name of the first person, Hebrew. Enter the age of the second, the age of the first person, 12. Enter the name of the second person, Kasu. The age of the second person, 13. Then enter the name of the third person, Kingo. Kingo is 15. Okay. So by the time you press enter, you see that. Let's see as go. It says Ibrah's age is 12, Kaso's age is 13, Kingo's age is 15. The sum of their ages is 40. So I think because I'm even using a comma here, I don't need to put space. The comma itself will give it space. Okay, that's why we have too much of space here, because so it becomes a double space. So I think that comma will give it space, and then that is all. You see that it says print, name one. You see, I'm doing all of these things in your presence. So you can also learn how to think when you are coding. You understand? So coding requires thinking. It requires you'll be thinking for the computer. You'll be thinking for the user. You are thinking for the computer, you are thinking for the user, you are thinking for yourself. You are thinking for the computer because you want to be sure that you write something that the computer can understand, and it will display your intention. You are thinking for the user because you want something that the user can be able to use effectively and do not give the user any problem. And then you are thinking for yourself because you are trying to put things together in the best way possible so that it will help you to achieve what you want to achieve. So coding entails a lot of thinking. You understand? And it's good. You see, one of the advantage of coding, that's why I will start teaching my children how to code very early. One of the advantage of coding is that it develops your brain, develop your thinking capacity. Like, you become a very good thinker with time. As you are coding, the more you code, the more you think, and then it makes your brain to be extra sharp than a normal person's brain. It's one of the advantage, and that's the reason why they've even brought coding into school curriculum now, into primary and secondary school curriculum, most especially in all these expensive schools, all these British schools and co. You understand it now? So it's like that. It helps you to think. Many of these things, see, when I was learning how to code, I did not learn many of these things. I only learned the fundamentals. I learned that, okay, this is what this one is used for, this is what you, then you now begin, I will go in the nights, start experimenting, start putting things together. Say, okay, if I try this one and try this one, let me see what will come out. If I try this one, if I push this one this way, if I turn this one this way, let me see what is going to happen. And then that is what produced, and it began to produce many things. I say, oh, that's how I got to know a whole lot more than what I was taught. I knew better than the way I was taught because I taught myself a lot by experimentation. I will experiment this, I will experiment this, I will put this one, let me try this one. If I palm this one like this, let me see what's going to come out. And that is the reason why you are enjoying my class, because I am putting myself in the position of a learner while I'm teaching you. So, and then because I have also passed through this stage before, then it makes it easy for me. You get? So it makes it easy for me to know what is going on in your head, to know what is going on in your mind. So while you are even thinking, before you even have problem, I have already thought about the problem for you. Then I will put it as part of my teaching. So you just see that you are flowing with the teaching and you are not really having issues, except on few occasions when you might still have issue eventually. You understand it now? So that's just it. So the way I code is the way I teach. I think for the user and I think for the computer. So I'm thinking for you now too, to say, okay, what if this person will have problem with this one? What if this person will have? So as I'm teaching, I'm thinking for you at the same time. And so the way I'm doing is the way I want you to learn how to do too, because you'll be teaching other people behind you. You'll be working in a company and you have to like lead. Maybe you are leading a team. You need to put them through. You understand it now? You need to explain, even though you are not teaching. At a point in time when you are coding, and when you are working in a company, you'll be sharing your ideas, or you guys will be working together with some other programmers, and all of you together will be brainstorming. So you need to explain your code so that they can be able to understand and they will follow you through. So all of these things are important altogether. Okay? So I'm not teaching you just to know, I'm teaching you for your career. I'm teaching you to be the way you'll be thinking, the way you will do when you are working. You understand it now. So you are going to learn a whole lot from me if you follow every of my class and you make sure you don't miss any one of them. You understand? Because some things will come to my mind while I'm teaching. I will just put you through. Some things just come to my head. I might remember one of the issues I had when I was working with someone, and I will just bring it on like that and explain it to you and teach you. So you are learning work skills, you are learning a whole lot of things, and you are also learning coding at the same time. Okay, so that's it. When you run this program, what's wrong with this one now? Okay, please enter the name of the first person. Ima, 100 years old. Kazim. is 50 years old. And Shade, I've not even been using girls, is 18 years old. It says, if you check the program, it says Iman's age is 10, this one age is this one age is this. See that? So if I even want to put a space between these values, I can put space. I can actually put space. You can just come here and put something like okay. Can come here and just put prints, empty print statements. Can put empty prints there. Okay, and then in fact you can even put asterisks. I love this part. You can even do it like this. You can put it this way. You can put it this way, or as much as you want. Okay, and then you can even put another one again. Print. You can put all these asterisks again. Put another one. All right, good. So by the time you run the code, let's see what happens. Kazim, Kadiri. Okay, let me use my 3 names. Emmanuel, 67. Many of you are looking for my age. Happy looking. All right. Please enter the name of the second person. Arono Kanli. That's my middle name. And then 29. And then you have enter the name of, yes. Yes. That is the S that you are seeing. Okay, don't worry. Let me run the code so you will understand. Okay. So please enter the age of the second person. Then enter the name of the third person, Kadiri. And Kadiri is 100. By the time you press enter, it will bring it out for you. See the way it displays it. You see that the 2 asterisks I put there, this one and this one, separated the inputs, all those inputs, separated them from the thing I want to see, the results, the outputs. So all these ones are the input, and this one is the output. So, and then you have it this way by saying Emmanuel's age is 67, Arona Kale's age is 29, and Kadiri's age is 100. So the sum of their ages is 196. Now, Carlton, you asked the question. You didn't understand the meaning of what I did here. Actually, what I did here is I concatenated Emmanuel, which is age 1. I concatenated it with letter apostrophe S. But because I have to make it a string and now put a quote outside, you can only concatenate 2 strings. So do you now get it? Okay, so that's what I did. And if I don't want to do it that way, and you see that I put a space between here and here so that there will be space between the age and the letter S. Do you understand? Because if I didn't do like that, that plus sign will make age to join with S. Then I could even, let me see, I think I could even do it without this plus. And then I will just remove this one. So all of them will be inside, will be like a single string concatenated with Emmanuel. Okay. Let me see if it will work that way. Everything will work that way. Oh, I'm tired. So run. Okay, let me run the program and see if it will run that way. What happened now? Okay. Let me do normal. Ima 12. Aaron 13. Card 14. Enter. Okay, it still worked. That's another method. Ima's age is 12. Aaron's age is 13. Card's age is 14. So what I did here is that instead of using 2, what I did here I did it only in the first one to see the way it will display, whether it will display in a different way from the second and the third, but it didn't display any differently. So any one that you like is okay. So I concatenated S with this one, with the name string, and now concatenated with the remaining parts. But since the two of them, the two sides are both strings, so I just decided to remove the second one. I removed everything here. So, so that everything will just be inside the two quotes. Then this one too is the same. It will work the same way. So no need for that long thing. It works the same way. So which means I just concatenated the whole of this string. I concatenated it with the variable here, with the string variable here, and it works just fine. Okay, so let's test whether there will be any difference. Ima 12, Aaron 13, and Kadi 14, and then it works very fine. Is that fine? So let's call it a day then. Alright, so thank you for joining the class, and I'm sharing it now. I want to send it to the WhatsApp group right now.